In this video, I want to talk with you about selling directly to a customer. This is video number 1 of the Reaching Your Customer Through Proper Sales Technique series. Now, I think this one is going to be very important to you. We'll start off with direct sales, and afterwards we're going to talk about intermediary sales, and then in the end we're going to cover a couple more topics, and then we can actually finish that section of reaching a customer through proper sales techniques. Now, let us start with a video. I think this is going to be one of the probably most dense videos because I'm going to give you a lot of information, and what your task, of course, is somehow not make sense of it, but rather remember it and really become able to apply it, because in the end, the information that I will give you here in this video will be extremely important for the next couple of years and for your business life. If you want to build a successful business, you should be able to sell to a customer directly, because in the end, whether it's a B2B or B2C business, you actually sell to a customer. Because when you sell to a business, you do not really sell to a business, because what you rather do is you sit on a table with a person, you're selling to that person, and then the business buys from you. But in the end, you're still talking to a customer, and that is, for example, in the CEO of the business. So you don't want to talk to a building, of course not, because that would be basically the business. But you're talking to a person on the table, and that's why that is kind of like a proper customer. Now, most businesses sell to customers directly. Some of the direct sales technique that businesses use are selling, for example, via one-to-one, so that you actually sit down with a person or call them and really eye out all the problems that they have, and perhaps why they should buy the product, and perhaps why your product is better than the products of your competitors, and also in order to make sure that they understand everything about the product so that they can be sure that they make a great decision when they actually purchase your product. Now, let us first of all talk about one-to-one sales techniques. So I want to give you the focus of a one-to-one sales technique. It is not the idea, it is rather the advantage that it brings for a customer. Because let's say you're talking to that person on the phone or on a table, and the person has never heard about your product. What you need to do is make sure that he or she understands what kind of advantage he or she or her business or his business gets from buying your product. Because in the end, first of all, they lose something. They lose money. Now, what they do afterwards, they try to get the money back through your product. Is it possible with your product to generate them, for example, more capital, to make them more effective? Is it perhaps for the co-workers nicer to work with a service that you're offering? Perhaps you also, I don't know, create some kind of coffin that works for employees very well when they sit for many hours, or you create like a very soft pillow that perhaps can be put under their butt so they can work for a couple hours longer or something like that. Or what do you offer? What is the exact advantage that your product brings? That is what you have to figure out in a one-to-one sale. Now, when you do a one-to-one sale, what you really should focus on is only, again, the advantage that your product brings, but also you need to make sure that your business is in the limelight, that there is no negative news about your business, that there is no kind of scammy feeling around your business. Because when you advertise to people, you probably are a spammer. Because the problem is, many companies out there, they try to sell no matter what, everything to a person. And that is a massive problem. Because in the end, they should not be really getting the advertisements from you, but they should really recognize the advertisements and then afterwards text you. That is, of course, the best way possible. But of course, I know that often proper selling is basing itself on scamming people and spamming people. So, but in the end, what you need to do is, when you send out a lot of marketing messages and advertisements and so on, that these advertisements seem as official as possible, and then in a one-to-one talk, that you actually show them that there is a big business behind your idea, or at least a very good product that can be produced in larger quantities, or at least with certainty. Then direct mail via a newsletter. So what you want to do is you want to send out emails to people. And in that email, you want to have a newsletter. Because in the end, if you just send a simple email, no one will be interested in that. Because most of the time, the spam filter will actually filter that email out. And also it doesn't look very nice. Except there's one kind of email which you can send without any kind of design, and that is a thank you email. And actually there's a book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Thank You Marketing. And I think, the Thank You Economy, I'm sorry. I think this is one of the best books ever written in the business world, because in the end what it teaches us is that saying thank you is very, very underrated. For example, what we at my business do, at Teaching Hero and all the other businesses that I'm managing, we often send out simply a thank you message to our clients or to the customers that we have. The only thing that we do is we send them a message saying thank you so much for being our customer and thank you for being with us. And then afterwards, we don't send any emails anymore until we receive actually a reply. Because what we want to make them feel is that they are appreciated. And that is what every business should create. And that's basically the feeling that every business should create for their customers. If the customers are really aware that you are happy that they exist, then you won and you will get their attention in the long term. So in order to do that, in order to send, for example, such an email, you can definitely use a newsletter. But what you have to do is do not send any advertisements with it. Because many people misunderstand me here. They think, okay, I send a message and in that message I say thank you. And then afterwards, in the same message perhaps, I offer them a discount or something like that. No, you don't want anything in return. Just say thank you. Because think about your own email. Is there anyone ever texting you saying thank you so much for being our customer without wanting anything in return? No, definitely not. There will be no one. Check all the messages that you ever got. I bet you anything, in every message, there is some kind of hook that they want you to buy something from their business again. Now what you can also do is you can have telesales through, for example, commercials, whether it's a Super Bowl commercial or just simply a very simple commercial on one of the hundreds of TV programs that are out there. Now the problem with telesales is that most of the time the ROI and the conversion rate are very, very low or not trackable. Because let me explain. The ROI is the return on investment. So what do you put in? What do you get out? That is what you measure. It's basically a ratio. Now if that ratio is positive, the quotient is positive, then you made a profit. If that quotient is not positive, or in this case now less than 1, you actually lose money. And that is of course what you not want, except you want to do that in the long term and say, okay, in the short term we lose money through the telesales, but in the long term we raise awareness for the business, and that's why we are going to succeed. Now, the problem with TV commercials is that you can't really track the conversion rate. You do not really know how many people actually watch the content and then bought the product. But the great thing is you can do that now online. So for example, when you have a Facebook advertising campaign or a PPC campaign on Google, what you actually do is you create a trackable sales technique, a marketing measure that allows you to really have a look at the conversion rate, that allows you to look at every customer, each individually, and say, this person A bought the product through this link on this platform, and person B did not buy this link, not over this platform, not over this link. So if you want to sell, for example, online, through shops or platforms such as Amazon or eBay, what you can do is simply use a tracking tool. And when you track, you can actually become much more efficient at your marketing efforts, and you can track the conversion rate. You know how many people do actually click on your commercials and how many people then buy. And that is very valuable because in the past, with TV commercials, that has never been possible. Now let us talk about high-paying clients. The problem with high-paying clients is that they often have a lot of wants and a lot of needs. So the one-to-one marketing works very well with high-paying clients because they want to know everything about the business and everything about the product. But on the other hand, that kind of marketing, that kind of sales technique is very expensive. So high-paying clients value the personal connection and need additional advice. Because often they have a big business, they have a lot to manage, and that's why they want to be sure about the product and they want to be sure whether they should buy the product or not. So again, be aware that one-to-one sales are the most expensive one and should only be used if A, you want to attract high-paying customers, and B, if you have the time and money in order to be able to focus on one-to-one sales. Because let's say you're just starting off with your business and you simply do not have a proper salesperson that could do one-to-one marketing, and you perhaps yourself have to lead the business and get it running, then of course you should not go for one-to-one marketing. You should not go actually for high-paying clients. What you want to do at that stage of your business is target the mass of people. Target as many people as possible and then try to cash in with them and try to create basically an income stream that exists over a long time and actually ensures that your business is running. Now, if you only focus on high-paying clients, at some point you will not be able to pay the bills anymore if you do not attract any high-paying clients. And especially if you're just starting out and your business is not big yet, and you're building, for example, a product for these high-paying clients, or you give a service to them, and perhaps they're not interested because they wasted a little bit like your time, and after a couple of months or so, they look at the service and think, no, don't want to buy it anymore, and they leave you down, they let you hang. Then you lose money, and you actually have no way to pay your bills anymore. So in the beginning, focus on clients that are not high-paying clients, but rather focus on the general mass of people. Then afterwards, focus on high-paying clients and really cash in on them. So complex products, such as, for example, business services or personalized software, really require a salesperson that has experienced special sales training. But the problem here again is that such a person who experienced special sales training and perhaps has years and years of experience in selling products is very expensive. Now, what you need to do, of course, then, is you need to make sure that the product that you're selling or the service that you're selling is good enough in order to be sold frequently by that salesperson. Because what kind of advantage do you have if you have a good salesperson but a crappy product? Of course, a salesperson can basically sell anything if he or she is good. But even a very good salesperson cannot really sell a crappy product. And it's again here about the ratio and about the ROI, so the return on investment. Let's say you pay a salesperson $10,000 per month and you sell a product that costs, let's say, $1, and the person sells it 6,000 times every single month. Well, in the end, of course, the ratio is 10 to 6. So you actually lose $4,000 every single month. Now then, what is the point in having a salesperson? Of course, there is no point. But if you want to scale a business, if you want to make it become successful, what you need to do is have a salesperson that A, doesn't cost you too much, and B, you need to have a product that has high quality and that can be sold multiple times. Now, for example, you pay a salesperson $5,000 per month, and the product that you sell gets sold by the salesperson 10,000 times a month when it costs, let's say, $1. Then you have $5,000 actually in return, and from that, of course, tax deduction, so let's say around $3,000, but you have $3,000 in profit per salesperson. Now let's scale that, and let's say you have 10 salespeople, and these 10 salespeople each actually sell at a very similar kind of rate. So in the end, you generate per month $30,000 in profit. Now if you scale that and think about what you would make in a month, what you would make in a year, this would actually be $360,000 in profit. Now I think that sounds pretty good. So in the end, of course, you have to see everything minus tax deductions, and perhaps you have to spend a couple of things, but in the end, perhaps you will actually get $360,000 out of that in proper profits. Now, also I want to talk with you again a little bit about telesales right now, about direct mail, about selling over your own website and your company's website, and about basically how to make sure that the websites that you create actually work well together with the salespeople. Now again, telesales can be very expensive and very cheap, and we have to really look at the ROI. Let me repeat this. The return on investment is very important. So the social media networking platforms, they all offer a big upside, and they also have a trackable conversion rate. That is the point of having a social media profile. Now, direct mail is probably one of the most efficient measures for sales if you don't have a lot of money. Now, if you build a very large email following, let's say you have 100,000 email contacts, and you're sending them a message every single week, well, then you influence, again, thousands and thousands of people every single week, every single month, every single year. Now, of course, not everyone is going to open the email, but if you really offer quality and value to people via those emails, it is very likely that they will offer them, that they will open them, and they will look at the messages that you wrote inside of it. Now, that is how you can build a brand over email. And then also selling over your own website or your company's website is probably one of the most furiously debated debates that are currently out there. So where should you actually sell? Should you sell over your own website, some kind of company's website, or should you sell over platforms such as Amazon or eBay? Now, of course, what you have to think about is your own kind of network. So how big is your network? Does it actually make sense for you to sell your product over one single platform or more platforms? And also, if you sell over a platform that actually reduces your profit, does that platform have a big enough reach in order to make this a positive thing for you? Now also, when you build your own sales website, what you need to do is you need to include all the salespeople in the design and layouting process of the website. They must be able to sell over the website and must feel connected with it. If they do not feel connected with the website, there is no way that they can actually generate you the profits that you really want. So include them in the process of designing and layouting the entire website.